Assalamu alaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Welcome back everyone, nice to meet you again. We still talk about the human systems and how they can relate it with their environment and how they can adapt with their environment. If you look over for all the animals, birds, they will adapt with their environment and they will use these systems to get their needs. Let's talk about the human needs, for example. Okay, what are our needs? What we need to survive? Okay, if you look over what the human needs, you can see that we have basic needs. Okay, at first we need that food, or we can say that also we can get the nutrients from the food, and we need water also, and also we need oxygen, okay, and shelter. Okay, now this is the basic needs for the human body. We can't survive without all these basic needs. If we look over for the food and water, we can get the food and water by using the digestive system. We can use the digestive system to get food and water. We will use system to get food and water, to digest food, to get the nutrients from food, okay, to break down the food and get all the nutrients from the food. Let's take a look for the digestive system to make a very simple explanation or division about that. That is the simple digestive system for the human body. Start with the mouth, and inside the mouth we have teeth and saliva to make the food easier to break down, to make smaller pieces and go to the esophagus and enter to the stomach. Inside the stomach we have acid to break down the food more and to make it chemicals, to make it smaller parts, and after that enter to the small intestine. Inside the small intestine, most of the absorption will happen in this small intestine. Now all the small intestine, we have very small blood vessels will absorb the nutrients in the small intestine, and after that the other food not eaten and not digested in this small intestine moves to the large intestine. In the large intestine it will absorb the water and minerals, and after that get out from your body, from the anus, from the rectum and anus after that. Okay, this is the simple explanation about the digestive system. But by the way, you should understand also not all the digestive system will look like each other. If you look over for the digestive system for the cow, for example, you can see that's a very complicated and very long digestive system. Why? Because this one eat grass and eat plants, and plants it will be very difficult to break down, so it needs that very complicated and very strong digestive system to break down all the plants, not look like the dog or the other animals, carnivores eat meat, I mean. Okay, now these animals eat meat, the digestive system will be smaller and simpler. Why? Because this one eat meat, and the meat don't need a lot of processes to break down and like that, so they will adapt with their environment. Not just it, if you look for the teeth, for example, if you look for the cow teeth, you can see that the cow, it has flat teeth. Why flat teeth? Because this one eat grass and plants, not need to cut meat or like that. But the dog, it has the sharp teeth. And also if you look over for another birds without teeth, why? They will adapt with their environment. The duck, for example, will adapt with their environment, will eat very flexible and fleshy food, don't need to cut and break down a lot and like that. No, and also the eagle or this hawk, it has very sharp beak to cut the meat by their beak and like that. Now as you see here, all of the parts of the animals and birds and all organisms will adapt with their environment. Let's back again for the oxygen, how the animal can get the oxygen. Okay, look over here now, how the animal or how the human body can get the oxygen. Okay, now they will use a system that is called respiratory system. respiratory system. This system will use for breathe, okay, to get oxygen and get out carbon dioxide. We'll use this respiratory system to get oxygen and get out carbon dioxide. Let's talk more about the respiratory system parts or the respiratory system organs. Now, the respiratory system will start with nose. This is the first part in the respiratory system, and when we speak about to take the oxygen or inhale, okay, take an oxygen, respiratory system starts with nose, and nose you take the oxygen, and also you can breathe by your mouth, no problem. Okay, now the nose, it will be the first step or the first part will take the first part of the oxygen journey. Now enter to the nose, and after that go to the larynx. Now, but as you see here, he write esophagus. Esophagus, of course, not in the respiratory system. That is in digestive system. But he want to tell you that all the systems, it will be in the same place, okay, and they will relate it with each other and they will work with each other. But anyways, the esophagus not in the respiratory system. Let's talk more about the larynx. Larynx also sometimes called throat, okay, throat. But of course we have different between throat and larynx, but suppose that this is the larynx and throat, they are the same. You can see that here we have very small tissues here in this throat, and now this called vocal cord, and all this part also called voice box. All your sound will get out from this place. When this vocal cord or these very small muscles vibrate, you can get out the voice or this sound. That is the larynx. Okay, now after larynx we have that very important part here that is called trachea. Trachea. This pronounced K, guys. Don't pronounce it trachea wrong. Trachea. And now this is trachea. This is flexible and made up of cartilage, like your ear. If you touch your ear right now, you can see that your ear that is flexible, very flexible, and this made up of cartilage, like your nose also. Your nose also flexible. If you look out for your nose, if you touch your nose and try to move it, you can see that this is very flexible, like your ear, like your trachea. All of them made up of cartilage. Now after that, this one becomes smaller and smaller and smaller and smaller. Okay, now this one becomes smaller parts here. This is smaller parts called bronchi. This is smaller part here called bronchi. Now this is the third part in the journey, trachea. Now the oxygen enter your nose, throat, trachea, after that to the bronchi, the smaller part of the trachea inside the lungs. This is called bronchi. And over now this one, ch, bronchi, wrong. This bronchi, okay. Now at the end of this bronchi, it ends with something like balloon, small balloon here, or called air sacs. Now at the end of the bronchi again, we have a balloon here. This balloon called alveoli. Okay, alveoli. Alveoli, this is the air sacs, it will fill with air. Because the lungs here, the lungs made up of tissue, spongy tissue, to absorb, to store all the oxygen inside and get out carbon dioxide, like a sponge. Okay, now we have lungs. At the end of the bronchi, inside the lungs, we have alveoli. This something like balloon, like that. Okay, something like that. This is the alveoli. This alveoli, subhanallah, surrounding by the blood vessels. Why blood vessels? Why blood? Why we need blood? Blood, it will be look like the delivery, to deliver all the oxygen and take the oxygen from here. Now you take oxygen, and this oxygen go to your cells. Your cells need oxygen, so the blood will deliver the oxygen from the alveoli and go to the cells and back again with the carbon dioxide to the alveoli again, okay, and get out the carbon dioxide. Okay, to understand more about the alveoli, you can see that this is the air sacs or the alveoli. You can see that all the alveoli surrounding by the blood vessels or surrounded by the capillaries. Subhanallah, this tubes, or these very small tubes, have a blood inside, and this blood, it will be like the delivery, okay, to take the oxygen from this alveoli, okay, and go around your body cells and give these alveoli, give it the carbon dioxide with this blue one, okay, to give it carbon dioxide. Now take oxygen and give it carbon dioxide, and after that go away from your body through your lungs. To understand more about the respiratory system journey, now I start with the nose at first again, and you breathe air, you take the air, you take oxygen by your nose and move to the larynx. Of course, the esophagus is not here, and after that to your trachea, bronchi. At the end of the bronchi, we have these alveoli, the air sacs here, and these alveoli surrounding by the blood. The blood will take oxygen and give the lungs carbon dioxide to move the carbon dioxide away from your body. But how all of this process will happen? All this process will happen because of the very strong and very important part here that is called diaphragm. This muscle, the very strong muscle that is called diaphragm. Now this BH is pronounced F, diaphragm, and G is silent. Diaphragm. Diaphragm. The diaphragm is the most important point for the respiratory system. This allows the respiratory system to breathe in and breathe out, to get oxygen and get out carbon dioxide. How this process happen? Now let's take a look for this slide to understand more about that. To understand about how that's happened, look over in this picture in front of you. Now when you get the air in, or you breathe in, okay, now you take oxygen. Now when you breathe in, this diaphragm moves down. This diaphragm moves down, and this diaphragm also contract, and this process is called inhalation or inhale. Inhale, it means to take the oxygen in, and when you inhale, your rib cage and your lungs expands. Your rib cage and your lungs expands. Now again, when you inhale, take oxygen, your diaphragm moves down and contracts, and the rib cage and the lungs expands and full of air. In the other hand, the opposite will happen. When you exhale, or exhalation, when you exhale or get out the air, when you get the air out, or when you get out the carbon dioxide, now your diaphragm relaxes and moves up. And your rib cage and your lungs squeeze and get out and become smaller and get out the air outside. Now we have two different process will happen with the diaphragm, by the diaphragm. Inhale, get in oxygen, diaphragm contracts, moves down, let the lungs to expand and full of air. When you exhale, get out the air outside, diaphragm relaxes, moves up. Now these lungs squeeze and be smaller and decreases, and like that. By this way, you can understand how you can breathe in and breathe out, and all of that also will happen because of we have muscles here. It will connect between the ribs here and all the bones of rib cage here. Subhanallah, all of the things will help you to breathe better. Okay, all that will help you to breathe better. That is the job of the diaphragm, and of course that is a very important to let you to breathe in and out. That is the explanation about the respiratory system, but of course we have a lot of another information about that. If you still have a question about respiratory system, please you can ask me at any time in WhatsApp. Thanks a lot for listening. Thanks a lot for watching. See you next time, inshallah. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Goodbye everyone.